Hey everybody, there's a new Deathstalker movie out there, so let's talk about it. Shout Studios and Radio Entertainment have brought back this dormant 80s franchise for which Shout Studios, the Shout Factory, the Blu-ray label has always put them out. They're Roger Corman, cheapy Conan the Barbarian knockoffs, which the sword and sorcery era of the early 80s was all the rage with cheapies and things like that. And Deathstalker is one of the upper tiers of those. Ran for 4 movies, various actors playing the lead of Deathstalker. It got handed around like it was James Bond, but the original guy came back for the last one. I swear by Deathstalker 2. Check it out. It's silly, and it has one of the best title drops in film history. I'm serious. You won't believe how they get that title in there. It's funny, too. You just gotta clap. But there's a new one, and it comes to us from Steven Kostanski, who did Psycho Gorman and Frankie Frico. So knowing that, you're like, there might be something to this. There may be something. And then Patton Oswalt jumps on to voice a character. There might be something to this. And I gotta say, I'm pretty shocked at how legit the new Deathstalker movie is. In this new Deathstalker movie, Deathstalker, now played by Daniel Bernhardt, he's from John Wick, and he was in The Matrix Reloaded. In the Braxian, where Deathstalker lives, there's these Dreadites. Don't call them Deadites. That belongs to another film property. They're these red zombie things. They're killing. They're ravaging the land. And after a battle with some warriors, Deathstalker comes to the remains and finds this amulet, which then kind of puts a target on his back for the creatures. And he finds this little goblin guy named Doodad, voiced by Patton Oswalt. And later they pick up a third for their party, Brisbane, a woman that joins them. And they go on this venture to try to get rid of this curse that is on Deathstalker. And fun, action, gore, it all ensues there. And I gotta say, this was, from the opening tip, we'll call it, was quite an enjoyable, it announces itself. The opening of this movie is blood-soaked and just showing off the goods right away to be like, hey, don't worry, settle down, 90 minutes, you're gonna have some fun. The movie kind of gets it in terms of things. It's not quite Wynorski levels of silliness in terms of dialogue and quips and winking. They play it straight but they know. It's they play the movie, the actors and Kostanski play the film straight, but they know at the same time. It's I want to say tongue in cheek, but it's not quite all that. But it works because everybody's committed. And they're playing it seriously while being a bit loose with the tone, and really appreciate that. This is probably by default the best Deathstalker movie of all time. And if you want to go and defend those old ones, go ahead. Please let me know how wrong I am with this. But I really found myself sinking my teeth in and quite enjoying it. The only I'll go with a minor quibble first is it's a very small movie, but then again, all the other Deathstalkers were small. It's a very feels like smaller sets. The cinematography is very close in, and everything feels claustrophobic a little bit. There's no grand sweeping fantasy world to go through. It's dark and kind of feels much sets and small, and the geography of every place they go feels like a small room. But that's okay, because I'm enjoying the dialogue and the characters. And one of the things that's awesome about this movie, I gotta give it up, is the gore. Right from the opening, there is a decapitation with the blood just splattering out. And that's not all. This thing is a practical effects wet dream for those of you who like to go back to that and I couldn't tell you what was CG in this. If it was used, it was probably just for polish. But man, there is a hell of a lot of cool killing involved in this movie. Just injury, blood-soaked mayhem. And it is quite awesome. Nobody holds back. It is gross in funny ways, in ouchy ways, and just all together, it's fun gore. And I appreciate that. It is awesome. They know what people want and then some from this kind of graphic sword and sorcery era of film. And to go along with that gore, I also have an appreciation for the, not just the really costuming, but the creature design and execution. This thing is full quadrant. It has an ode to kind of the Deathstalker creatures, like the pig face, things like that. But man, it feels like they had, like, you might not get to make another Deathstalker movie, but, you know, so we're going to throw everything we could possibly think of for any Deathstalker and sequels in here. There are so many creatures, and they're all awesome. There's stuff that'll remind you of Masters of the Universe in here, like feels like comic or cartoon come to life. All different sort of fantasy realms, and it's awesome. Like, I am enamored. Like, every scene moves to some, it's like kind of video game-ish, where you go to a level, you fight some things, and then there's a boss, or you find a treasure or something like that. It has a very video game narrative to it, and it's fun and appreciative, and you could like pause the movie, go away, and come back and be fine. There's no like zone you have to get into for Deathstalker to really enjoy it. So you could watch it in parts and be just as fine. Heck, it could work as like a short web shorts series, like little 10-minute vignettes and stuff like that string together for a full adventure. It's kind of constructed like that. But these creatures are awesome, and they keep getting better and better and more creative, and they don't feel like they're coming from the same ilk too. They don't feel, they all feel part of this world, but it's like, oh man, this world, well, I mentioned the cinematography and the scope aren't big, but the imagination and where do these creatures come from feels like this place is gigantic. It's well populated by a lot of monsters, creatures, characters, and all sorts of stuff. It is awesome. Like, I have to give them props for that. This movie is just a whole lot of fun. It's everything. It's one of those fantasy, it's one of those, sci-fi fantasy movies that just has everything to it. It's got comedy, it's got action, it's got gore, it's got one-liners. It's awesome. I was quite surprised and happy with the new Deathstalker movie, which I didn't go in thinking it might happen. And from the opening to the end, I was happy with it. Scoring the new Deathstalker, I'm going to give it 3.5 out of 5. And yeah, check this one out. I will check it again. I will probably grab myself the 4K Ultra HD or Blu-ray of it when it comes out. And I hope there's bonus features and behind the scenes stuff, because this is really fun. And maybe we'll get another Deathstalker, but maybe the magic or lightning, you can only catch lightning in a bottle once, and this is that once, and that's good enough, and we got it. Very happy for it. So Deathstalker, it's now playing in theaters. I don't know its digital schedule or physical media release, but I'm reviewing the film at hand, and if you have a chance, if it's playing in your city, give it a shot. Get popcorn, get a drink, enjoy the blood-soaked gore and wonderful sword and sorcery of returning to the world of Deathstalker.